Good morning, dear student. Welcome to this lesson, and today we'll be talking of electrolyte and non-electrolyte. Before I get to that, our last lesson was conductivity of solid. We saw how a solid material could allow electricity to pass through them. The reason is just that they have an electron that flows in them. That's the reason that those solid could allow current to flow through them. So today we're going to see but liquid, not more solid again. And the liquid here is electrolyte and the non-electrolyte. We're going to talk about strong electrolyte. We'll talk about weak electrolyte and the example. We'll talk about non-electrolyte and the example. And we'll also talk of electrolysis and the electrolytic cells. Now I'm going to move to board and we'll now continue from there. Okay, here we have electrolyte and non-electrolyte. An electrolyte is a compound which in aqueous solution conducts electricity and is decomposed during the process. The particles present in electrolyte are called ions. These ions are responsible for conducting current in electrolyte. Now, what do we mean by electrolyte? Those are compounds. For example, hydrochloric acid, most acid, hydrochloric acid, hydrogen chloride, nitric acid, all of them are acid, and a base, alkalis, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, and inorganic salt, sodium chloride, potassium chloride, magnesium chloride, calcium chloride. Those are salt. Now, when these salts decompose, when you pass in current in this salt, it will break down and produce sodium ion and hydroxide ion. These ions are the one responsible for allowing current to flow, to pass through them. If you connect it to a series or to a cell, you discover that your bulb will light. We'll talk of strong electrolyte. It is a compound which is completely ionized in an aqueous solution, e.g., hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, sodium chloride, which is a salt, magnesium chloride, and potassium chloride. All these compounds here are strong electrolyte because they conduct electricity. For example, when these compounds are introduced into water, they produce H plus ion and minus ion. That is the chloride ion. The chloride ion and the H plus ion now allow current to flow. Weak electrolyte. It is a compound which is partially ionized in aqueous solution, e.g., water, ethanoic acid, aqueous potassium, aqueous solution of ammonia. Now, for example, you have your groundnut oil in the house. When you take this groundnut oil and put it in water, what will happen? You discover that they don't mix. Those two does not mix. It tells you that that groundnut oil is weak electrolyte. Now, non-electrolyte. It is a compound which in aqueous solution does not conduct electricity and is not decomposed by electricity. What do we mean by decompose? It does not break down. That's the meaning of decompose. We cannot break them down into two particles. So we're saying that aqueous solution is water, solution that contains water. Non-electrolyte example is petrol. When you take petrol and put in water, petrol will float. It will be on and water down. The reason is because water is more denser than petrol and they don't mix. And the reason of them not mixing is because petrol is an organic compound, while water is inorganic compound. Those two does not mix. And if they don't mix, they cannot produce ions. There's no way that they produce those positive charge and negative charge. Remember, it's the negative charge and the positive charge that are conducting current or that allow current to flow through them. Example is kerosene, ethanol, sugar, paraffin wax, and most organic compound. Even though all of this one, they are organic compound. Now we're going to talk of electrolysis. Electrolysis is a chemical decomposition of a compound by the passage of direct current through the molten compound or aqueous solution of the compound. Now, we have this electrolytic, a good illustration of electrolysis. In this our cells, we have a liquid under test, and this liquid under test is sodium chloride. The liquid under test is sodium chloride, and the sodium chloride, we said it is an electrolyte. Before we get to that, we have the cation. The cation is the positive ions that move to the anion. The anion is the negative electrode, and we have the anion, which is the negative ions, move to the cation, which is to the anode. In the course of movement, they will not allow current to flow, and this bulb will light. So now we call all of these electrolytic cells, and what we're investigating is electrolyte that allow current to flow, and they are allowing current to flow because of these ions, the negative and the positive. So before I leave, we have some assignment. 1. You define an electrolyte. 2. Strong electrolyte. 3. Weak electrolyte. 4. Non-electrolyte. And 5. Electrolysis. 6. Give 2 examples each on those definitions. 7. Draw the electrolytic cells for the electrolysis. Thank you, and you have a wonderful day.